name is Kathy, and today I'll be discussing the moon in Aquarius. But before I do this, I wanted to let you know that because I have a great many videos now on many different topics, that I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Moon and Aquarius people are very imaginative. Some positive ways that this can manifest is in some highly creative achievements in the creative arts world, which then allows them the chance to try out a variety of interesting bohemian living situations. These people crave the unusual and quirky. However, if there isn't a creative outlet for all of this vivid imagination, it's common for it to deteriorate into gossip and rumor spreading. This isn't done with malice in their hearts. It is just their vivid imaginations working overtime to create these fantasy worlds and scenarios. This can be very unfortunate for other innocent people when they become the star of these generated fantasy scenarios that are gossiped into life by the Moon and Aquarius person, who is just being their creative selves. Sometimes these fantasy scenarios include others that don't appreciate the fantasy, and then they track down the source of this negative gossip to the detriment of the Moon and Aquarius person, who, after all, was just having fun with their imaginations, not thinking of any consequences. Overall, though, the Moon and Aquarius person is a very broad-minded person that is fully abreast of the changing trends in society. They are very big on the concept of free love with no strings attached and definitely no jealousy involved. When all is said and done, though, what Moon and Aquarius people like the most is to shock others by pronouncing definite views on subjects that are considered taboos. They are usually the first in line in helping to change some aspect of social life. But when the same ideas are applied to their personal life by significant others, they are surprised that things fall apart. The freedom that they deem so important then becomes an issue when the freedom of significant others is expressed. Moon in Aquarius is a mixture of radical thoughts and conservative actions. This holds true in particular for the male Moon in Aquarius person. The female Moon in Aquarius person generally just has the intellectual and firm ideas, but this rarely moves into action as much as it does with the male Moon in Aquarius person. This is the armchair activist who speaks a good speech but never actually does it. Both sexes are highly prone to mental anxiety and tensions as they are constantly overstimulated by innovative new ideas, at the same time hampered by the throngs of acquaintances that enjoy hearing about these new concepts, but never actually contributing to any of those chosen causes. Moon and Aquarius people are highly attracted to unusual types of relationships, and also to study things like metaphysics and occult sciences. In seeking their own freedom, the Moon and Aquarius person longs to be the torchbearer of new paths for others. Basically, the Moon and Aquarius person is the soul of ambivalence. So, you find that in the first part of their lives, they are on a constant quest to find out what it is that they truly want out of life. Because of all the myriad interests, these people tend to reside in a basic state of utter confusion, combined with a fascination for inaccessible types of people. This ends up by the Moon and Aquarius person suffering away their youth in endless disappointing love affairs with people who are unavailable to them, and also feeling the intense fear of potentially close proximity and intimacy with another. This trait is not generally apparent to the average Moon and Aquarius person, though. They usually consider themselves to be very emotional, but they really aren't. How this works is that they spend great amounts of time thinking about their feelings. which is not the same thing as experiencing feelings. Here it is an intellectual abstraction. In actual fact, these people are quite detached emotionally. This self-knowledge only comes after they sit down and begin to analyze their relationship patterns and begin to see that they only seem to want to become involved with people that are either too busy, married, neurotic, psychotic, or simply too far away to give them the support that they seem to need. And yet, they feel a sense of suffocation if someone actually wants more closeness with them. How this scenario generally works is that they become mildly attracted to someone who would never truly want them in return. Then the Moon in Aquarius person has a blinding flash of a realization, and that realization is that you just must have that person. The more barriers they erect against the Moon in Aquarius person, the more attractive that person becomes to them. And yet another relationship of obsessions that leaves them feeling hopelessly in love with someone they barely wanted in the first place begins. Internally, the Moon in Aquarius person is constantly talking to themselves incessantly about their feelings for this unworthy other, convincing themselves that they simply must have this person. Then, in the last part of this romantic phase that gets repeated over and over again, they swing wildly back and forth between desiring and ever-increasing detachment. At this point, they become so emotionally confused that any new, distant, and sufficiently selfish individual who appears on the scene has a chance of winning them over. When the Moon in Aquarius person finally sees this pattern within themselves, it usually comes like a lightning bolt of understanding. Suddenly, they want to change their lives because they finally see that the old way is only filled with suffering. It is amazing how fast this shift happens when it strikes. Now, what would have been this amazingly attractive new person is seen clearly as a bad idea. And when this stage is reached, the Moon in Aquarius person is finally ready for Mr. or Ms. Right. And the entire concept of romance begins to mean sharing instead of suffering. At this point, the same fast swoop into the new relationship happens, and they can think of nothing else but this new person. But now, they require their own space, along with the freedom to come and go as they please. An overpossessive partner is definitely not wanted. The ideal for the Moon in Aquarius at this stage of life is to find a love relationship who will be a partner and their best friend. They are open and honest about their feelings at this point and believe strongly in communications as an important part of romance. Because these people are so analytical by nature, they enjoy open discussions of emotions and look upon these talks as a great basis for future security with the new love object. However, if the love object is more of a silent type who likes to hold most of the feelings inside, well, then the Moon in Aquarius person will feel the worst kind of anguish and vulnerability. They simply must know where they stand, or at least have the illusion that they know, before they can relax and relive the relationship, rather than just have it be an internal mental abstraction. The Moon in Aquarius person tends towards being nervous, tense, and prone to mood swings. These are extremely social beings. Even though they have few friends, they are still highly sociable and really enjoy the light kinds of social exchanges that happen during business lunches and parties. They love people, especially unusual people who stimulate them and who are endlessly fascinating for them as it stimulates their imaginations. And they love to listen and analyze them and then speculate on what might be motivating them to build yet another fantasy scenario with this friend as the star and the friend playing parts in this internal world. When real problems hit their own lives, the Moon in Aquarius person can easily become selfishly preoccupied and quite insensitive to others. The ironic part of this scenario is that the suffering that they feel often has nothing to do with reality, but everything to do with what they have created and distorted in their minds. The Moon in Aquarius person is generally a good friend for the most part, and a person that is worth getting to know. They are definitely interesting people. Whether they are happy or sad, they see their lives as a kind of cinematic series of episodes. As each one changes into the next, they are excited to view what comes next. And whatever that new scene may be, they know it will be worth living through, because the Moon in Aquarius person sees everything as worth knowing about, even if only for a little while. Now, I have a great many videos now on many different topics, so I've decided to create several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Well, that's it for now. To stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this free YouTube channel by clicking the red subscribe button right below this video. Take care.